Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to the County Employee Retirement System Board of Trustees special call meeting for May the 13th. With that, Eric, do you mind to read the opening statement for us, please?
Of course. This is a special meeting of the County Employees Retirement System Board of Trustees. This meeting is being broadcast via video teleconference pursuant to KRS 61826 and may be viewed by the public at the Kentucky Public Pensions Authority offices located at 1260 Louisville Road in Frankfort, Kentucky. It is also being broadcast to the public live via Facebook. If you are speaking and are not appearing by video, please identify yourself before talking. If the video or audio broadcast is interrupted, we will attempt to reestablish a connection. The connection cannot be reestablished within 30 minutes. The meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled to a later date.
Thank you, Eric. Sherry, can you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Cheatham?
Here.
Dr. Carver?
Here.
Mr. Foster?
I'm here.
Mr. Fulkerson?
Here.
Dr. Hackbart?
Here.
Mr. McGraw?
Here.
Mr. Webb?
Here.
And Mr. O'Meara?
Here.
Thank you.
Being a quorum present, I want to thank everybody for making time off my screen so I can see what we're doing. Anyway, I hate that we've had to do two of these in about a 2-week period of time, but as you will see on I think slide 4, we may have 3 or 4 more of these over the course of the next 10 or 12 months or so. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hackbart to give us a summary of the previous investment committee meeting, and Steve Willer to give you all an update on what we're dealing with.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The CERS Investment Committee just met a few moments ago and considered 2 recommendations from staff. One was for continuation with HIG Capital. The investment committee considered that recommendation, which was basically to abstain and not to approve, as opposed to approving that continuation. So we'll be bringing to you this afternoon a recommendation from the investment committee to abstain from voting on the HIG Capital continuation proposal. The second item that we considered in our meeting that we just completed was with Adams Street. Again, it's a continuation proposal. The staff recommended approval. Wilshire, by the way, has also recommended approval on this particular continuation, and the vote was unanimous by the investment committee to recommend to the full CERS committee that we approve the for Adams Street, and again, an abstention for the HIG Capital extension. So I'd like to turn it over to Steve to discuss both of those recommendations that the staff brought to us and answer any questions that any of you might have regarding these 2 actions. So if you would provide a little bit of context, Steve, and then go through your recommendation, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hackbart, and thank you everyone for their time today. Share page 3, please. We did discuss in detail at the investment committee meeting, and I intend here to provide kind of a high-level view of exactly what was presented at the investment committee and approved at the investment committee meeting. So HIG Capital is proposing an amendment to the LPA to extend the term of HIG Capital Partners 5 fund by 1 additional year until July 1st, 2026. This is a 2013 vintage fund whose original final term was July 1st, 2021. CERS's original total commitment across pension and insurance was $18.1 million, and the value of CERS's investment in the fund was marked at $7.2 million as of December 31st, which is approximately 4 basis points of exposure of the total CERS assets. The original final term was extended 2 years at the discretion of the GP, and has subsequently been extended 2 more times, each time for an additional year by approval of the majority of LPs as required by the LPA. The first 1-year extension that was approved by the LPs included a reduction in management fees from 2% to 1%. To date, the fund has performed very well. That's highlighted in Wilshire's memo with a net IRR above 22% and a DPI, which is a distributed to paid in, so kind of what you've gotten back on your money, of 2x, with the majority of the investments in the fund already realized. And as I noted in the investment committee meeting, while we agree with Wilshire's comments regarding the benefits of orderly realizations, especially given how well this fund has done. As they noted, this is one of the best performing private equity funds in its class. And potential orderly realization is a potential benefit to performance. As we've previously discussed, the fund post-investment period extension requests that require LP approval. Our position is that there should be some consideration, usually by reduction in management fees offered by the manager. In this case, as outlined, the management fees will remain unchanged. So accordingly, our recommendation is to abstain from the vote. And for full transparency, as Wilshire highlighted as well, we're a very, very small percentage. You can see on here, CRS assets are about 1.8% of the overall Fund 5. It's very likely that the extension request will be approved and the fund will extend for an additional year, regardless of our vote, whether we abstain or vote for or vote against.
I just want to add, some comments that Wilshire made that I think are pertinent to why we chose to abstain versus choosing to either approve or not approve. Number one, we agree with Steve that, if we're going to extend this thing, there ought to be some reduction in fees. So by abstaining, we potentially, if they don't get enough response to the vote, they'll have to come out to all of us and say, hey, what's it going to take for you to approve? But at the same time, we didn't want to go to the full extent of not approving in case at some later date we wanted to make further investments with this particular manager.
Yeah, those are very good points. Happy to answer any questions, or if Wilshire wants to comment as well.
Well, if we abstain, we'll be voting in the affirmative. So we might not put anything on the record that we're for or against it, but we are voting on the affirmative if we abstain.
If we abstain, it's not counted for approval. So if you abstain, it is not counted as a favorable vote.
I probably disagree with you on that, but abstention means you go along with the affirmative. Whoever passes, that's that you go with you count as an affirmative vote.
Yeah, from a parliamentary standpoint, Mike's right. I just don't know whether that applies to an investment meeting or not. The other thing I wanted to point out with this, if you don't mind, Steve, if you'll go to your slides 4 and 5, we've got several of these that have been dragging out for years. I think there's one on the list goes all the way back to 2000. That's one of the concerns that I have. None of them are huge taken individually, but I think on just the ones that are at least older than 2011, there's about $111 million out there. And it's not like it's sitting there not performing. I don't want to give that impression, but it's certainly, these things need to get wound down and let's find other opportunities. But if you don't mind, Steve, to just kind of touch on each of those points.
Sure. As we see on page 4, and this was at the request of Mr. Cheatham and Mr. Hackbart and Ed, we provided more detail on the current private equity portfolio, and that's really focused specifically on as Mr. Cheatham said, on the original terms of the investment as well as their current status. On this page, you can see that CRS has a significant number of what we have called legacy private equity investments that are more than 15 years old and well beyond their original term. And that's a number of line items, although as Mr. Cheatham mentioned, that they represent a relatively small, less than 60 basis points of CRS's overall assets. They are still invested, and we hope to have realizations. As we've seen with the broader private equity market, and we've highlighted in several investment committee meetings and board meetings, realizations have slowed down in the private equity market considerably. I think we noted it's the highest all time as far as the value of companies held by private equity and the line item number of companies. So it's kind of broken a lot of pacing models. We've also highlighted that we've seen a number of investors, especially on the endowment side, look at potentially offloading some of their private equity investments in the secondary market where they would anticipate receiving a substantial haircut. So while these are still invested, the money is still working. Ultimately, when we're going to realize when we're going to get our money back, has dragged on and potentially for these investments could continue for several more years. As we see, we've got some that are very old, as Anthony always points out. We've got some that are able to drink now or close to able to drink. I think it's going to take both a combination of for private markets, it's kind of the meeting of the minds between a seller and a buyer. They have to find the right buyer at the right price. Some of that's going to be loosening of the economic and the financing conditions that we see. The rise in rates certainly has not necessarily been beneficial to the ability for some of these deals to get done. So we could see this page in a year could look very similar. I wouldn't anticipate a significant number of realizations over the coming year, kind of given current thought and expectations. We did mention in the investment committee meeting, and I'll certainly provide additional detail, but specifically for HIG, as we mentioned, they've already been through a couple of extensions, both at GP discretion and LP approved. We have seen realizations during those 4 years. It's not like they're not sitting pat on their hands. They are looking and working and trying to unlock the value of these investments and find buyers. And they do a great job. Wilshire highlighted in the prior meeting, this is, as I mentioned, this is one of the best performing funds in this sector. They do a great job. Their ability to monetize at good pricing and good economics for investors is well proven. So it's not an issue with the fund specifically. Again, our recommendation on not being in favor of the extension is really just based on, I think we feel it's appropriate at this stage of the life cycle for a fund like this, that there should be some consideration given, especially from the management fees perspective. If you move forward a page, Sherry. So those are the legacy, the ones that are 15 years or older. The next 2 pages show the entirety of the CRS private equity portfolio. And as Mr. Cheatham mentioned, there's a number of funds that will be hitting their current final term. That current final term is either the original final term or the currently extended final term over the next year. Several of these, or likely all of these, will request term extensions. There are a handful that may enter liquidation or wind down, which we noted that's unlike what we see in like a fixed income world, or what we're normally used to. Most investors, when you see a final term, that means you get your money back at that point. That's not what the final term means here. The wind down can persist, as we saw on the prior page, that can go years beyond even the multiple extensions to the final term that have been granted. So we expect to see several more of these over the coming 12 months.
Mr. Cheatham, may I address Mr. Foster's question regarding whether an abstention would be an affirmative vote on this?
Absolutely.
In this case, an abstention will not be counted as an affirmative vote. It actually requires an affirmative vote of the majority of LPs in order for it to be continued. So an abstention will not be counted in this case as a vote for the extension.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So just to follow up, reiterate what I said earlier, if they don't get, I think you say, Steve, the majority of LPs to vote, then they're
Correct.
what, another window and go out and try to coax some folks off the abstention list?
That would be a decision point for the GP, whether or not they can enhance the option to vote in favor of the extension.
Can, just for my own edification, could they go to one LP and say, all right, we'll reduce your fee to 50 basis points, and another one still be paying 1? Or is it?
I think it would typically in most cases it would apply to all of the LPs. So if there was a fee reduction, it would be a fee reduction across all of the LPs. And again, full transparency specifically for this transaction, it is highly likely that regardless of our vote, the extension will be granted by the LPs, and this fund will be extended 1 year.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Steve or Wilshire? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the investment committee's recommendation to abstain on the HIG continuation.
Also moved.
Got a motion by Steve, and I couldn't catch the other one.
I'll second it.
Second by Dr. Hackford. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to abstain signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, I'm going to move on to our next. Do you still classify this as a continuation, or?
So it's an extension request. It's slightly different than the HIG extension request because as opposed to the final term extension, this is an extension. Adams Street Partners is requesting an amendment to the LPA specifically for the Adams Street Private Credit Fund 3 to extend the final admission date. That means when's the final time they can accept new money into the fund to March 31st, 2026 from May 31st, 2025. This is it's a 2023 vintage fund. The fund has a target size of 2.7 billion, of which 1.7 billion approximately has been raised to date. In 2023, CRS committed up to 175 million to this Fund 3 and up to an additional 175 million in a co-invest sidecar vehicle. And at the time, these commitments were essentially a re-up, rolling CRS's existing exposure in the Adams Street Private Credit Fund 2, which was maturing. So we were rolling our exposure from Fund 2 into Fund 3. Fund 2 it performed very well for us. CRS investment in Fund 3 totaled 88.7 million, or approximately 47 basis points of total CRS assets as of December 31st. The fund's performance has been very strong. Wilshire noted that in their memo as well. As we noted that IRRs are not necessarily extremely meaningful in early stages, but the fund has posted a net IRR above 30% and a MOIC, which is the multiple on invested capital of 1.1. So promising, strong start for the fund. Fund 3's original term was 6 years, subject to up to 2 one-year extensions that require consent of the advisory committee. The rationale for approving this for staff was that market conditions for private credit remain favorable, and Adams Street team continues to deploy capital at very attractive terms. The amendment permits the fund to accept new investors for a longer period of time, allowing Adams Street to grow the size of the fund. That increased size benefits existing investors through a larger, more diverse investment portfolio, and by spreading fixed costs across the larger capital base, reducing the cost burden for each dollar of investment commitment to the fund. The increased fund size also allows the fund to be more competitive in more investment opportunities with a larger share of financing opportunities. So our recommendation that was approved by the investment committee is to approve the proposal for an extension to the final admission date. Happy to answer any questions and happy for Wilshire to comment as well.
Steve, if you don't mind, for all of us, not just the new ones, if you don't mind explain the sidecar where we rolled the funds over and what the benefit to that is.
Sure. This was one that, this is a large investment for CRS and KPPA in general. And so we got very favorable terms, both for our Fund 3 investment as well as the sidecar. And the sidecar, that co-investment comes at no management fees and no performance fees.
That's the point I wanted to make. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anybody have questions for Steve or folks from Wilshire? David, anything you guys want to add? Okay. Mark, you want to?
No, I was going to say our notes and what we noted is in the memo.
I appreciate you all weighing in on both of
Yeah.
these investments. It certainly puts things in an appropriate light. If there's no other questions or discussion, I'll entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendation to.
Also moved.
Got a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by JT. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to accept staff recommendation to continue, to allow the continuation, signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes have it. Recommendation is accepted. Again, I want to thank everybody for making time available. We'll work diligently to try to get ahead of these things going forward so that we can plan appropriately and maybe get some of these taken care of in our regular meetings. With that, I'll let you all have the rest of your afternoon back and look forward to seeing you soon.
Great to
Thank you
see
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.